Hello, good people from the XMNR. Bruce here, doing a little something different. This assignment is different. My system assignment is different this month, so I want to give you a quick tutorial. Hopefully, I won't be more than 7 or 8 minutes here, and you can always speed me up, so get through it faster. I'm going to move to the assignment. I want you to look through, so you might want to pause now and bring up that assignment. Just here's my version of it. And I just want to talk you through some of the key things. The big thing here is one of the reasons why this is different is because the learning outcomes are focusing a lot on artificial intelligence. I really think we're at a transformative moment where how we learn and think and write and communicate, it's all changing in part because AI is now an interface. And so we need to figure out how to use it. In particular, we need to figure out how to use it to ask questions. And in the educational setting, we need to figure out how to interact with it in a way that helps us learn. So there's a big part of this assignment is for you to get used to using AI to help you learn. And the assignment is divided up into the two parts usual. There's something that you do individually and there's something that you do as a team. I'm asking you to do more as an individual this time, in part because AI is going to help you do it. Right, so let me talk through these parts. First of all, there are a couple optional things just help you explore some basic issues. There's an opportunity for you to sign up to office hours. We're not going to have a team meeting with me this interval, but I do have a couple times here where you can come in for a minute or an hour, ask a question, listen to other people's questions, talk about the weather, whatever you want to do, or not at all if you don't want to do the office hours. Then I'm asking you to do a quick hour to look at some place that you love or grew up in or work in or care about for whatever reason. Maybe that's where your investments are, your house is, and do a quick assessment of climate risks. I've given you some tools and websites here for you to use. You can even look at whether the risk of getting an asteroid impact there. So some of it's fun, some of it's just eye-opening and help you understand what kind of information is out there. But the bulk of this assignment, the bulk of the time I want to spend with you here in this quick overview are the 5 or 6 hours you're going to spend mastering the basic topics and issues of climate adaptation before you go to the team to work through the priorities where you have to allocate money and defend those allocations. Right? So I've framed some questions for you here to ask and answer as you go through and work with the AI. I'm going to give you a couple examples here in just a minute. But I want to point out that in the instructions, there's a little note here. It's in red. It says, please read. These are my conversation with you to think about how to use AI to best create a learning experience, to best engage the material. In particular, I'm giving you some instructions. Those instructions are in normal font, and I've actually given you questions I want you to paste into the AI because I know they work, and those questions are written in italics. Periodically, you'll see words like pause or formulate or reflect, and that's because you're interacting with a very intelligent or seemingly intelligent system that just like you would interact with an expert to learn about climate adaptation. You're going to get answers certainly more quickly than I can give them to you, oftentimes better, more in depth than I can give you. And you can always reframe the question so you can get various aspects explored more deeply. But do pause, do reflect, do formulate your own questions. Use my questions, but also think about how you might revise and improve them to get your own information. So the very first thing I want to point out is I'm asking you to give the AI some context. I want you to ask it to be an expert in the field, whatever expertise you think most aligns with you. I've asked it to be an expert as a PhD economist, somebody who cares about poverty and sustainable development, and to use a particular set of literature. So put that context in. I'll just give you an example. So here's the literature. Here's the question that I wrote for you. Let me shift over to ChatGPT. I'm going to start a new ChatGPT session, and I'm just going to paste in the context, right? I'm going to tell it that I want it to be an economist, and it's going to come back and say, okay, I got this in my memory. I'll behave this way from this point on. All right, great. Now let me go to, it's just answering me. I'm going to move on. You can look at the answer. The first set of questions asks you to think about how big the risk is of climate adaptation, how much we need to respond. Some of us are pretty gloom and doomy about these risks. And this set of literature I'm asking you to explore, I've got a few things in here from Roger Pilkey and Nordhaus and others, as well as some from some assessments of the economics of climate change. And so I want you to work through those arguments, work through that literature, and see what you come up with. So just for example, here's the first input question. It asks for some work for the ChatGPT to review some work from Roger Pilkey, who the Honest Broker, does a lot of work in this topic. I encourage you to subscribe if you're not already, and he'll give you some arguments about maybe things aren't as bad as we think. Maybe we're actually adapting already quite a bit. And anyways, he's going to provoke some thoughts there about how bad current events are, particularly extreme weather. And it's going to give you, it gave me a bad response. No, it didn't give me a bad response. It's working fine. It's thinking. It'll come up with an answer in a minute. We're a little slow today. I may have overwhelmed it. Now, let me bring up the next question. It says, thank you. Now review another article by somebody else, Ted Nordhaus from the Breakthrough Institute, and get a slightly different perspective. Then I'm going to ask you to think about the economics, compare some work done by a National Bureau of Economic Research and Stern Review from England, compare those, and basically stop, think, follow up, reflect as you work through this material. So that's the pattern. In this first set of questions, I'm not asking you to do anything, to write anything except to yourself, but you don't have to turn anything. The second set of questions, I want to make sure you understand from the basic concepts associated with assessing climate adaptation. So vulnerability, exposure, sensitivity, and adaptive capacity. They're right here for you. Just ChatGPT answers them really quickly. You're going to need those definitions in the team assignment, so keep that information because you'll need it again. The third set of questions ask you to define the topics, right? In the last assignment, the climate mitigation assignment, I think there are 11 topics, right? And you divided and conquered. Here, I'm going to ask you to answer all of them very quickly. And I've given you the questions that you can ask to get good answers. And of course, you can dig deeper on your own and get even more sophisticated answers than you're going to get here just from the few questions I've asked. But go ahead and explore these questions and answers. The answers that you're going to get, you can use in the topic definitions to answer the team assignment. It's all pretty straightforward. Now is where it gets fun, is question set number 4, because this is the prioritization thing that I've asked you to do. I'm going to have you work with ChatGPT to get these priorities. And at least on your own, and interact with it and ask some questions. And the most important part here is I've created some personas, some paradigms. You remember the paradigm assignment where we compared Malthusianism to ecomodernism to environmental justice and fairness. Well, we can ask ChatGPT or whatever platform you're using to adopt these persona and evaluate the priorities for how you would allocate resources depending on which persona you're in, which paradigm you're using. And this is a great tool because it helps you do some systems thinking, helps you step up and outside of the system and bring in some other topics, some other perspectives. And it's done more quickly and more efficiently, certainly less painfully than if you have a large group trying to get all their perspectives and facilitate all their perspectives. Anyways, it helps you think differently, helps you look for different leverage points and think differently about this. And so that's pretty much the assignment. I have given you some bonus material here if you want to dig deeper, but you don't need to. There's just a really quick overview. It's a new type of assignment, a new way of thinking. I want to encourage you to have a conversation with an expert. In this case, the expert's going to be AI. And ask good questions, pause, reflect, follow up, make sure you record the lessons that you learn, and then you'll be ready to go into the team assignment, prepared to already have good defenses for your allocations. You already have your criteria. Then you'll just have to divide up the work of who's going to do which part, because everybody will have already done all the assignment. You'll just have to divide up who's going to do what and what your team allocation is. You're still going to have to negotiate that. So reach out to me if you have any questions. Be well and go XMNR.